And well, this is all we have. So thank to all of you for your assistance, all the cities, also the experts, the European Commission and the Secretariat. It is a pleasure to have you with us. And from the European Commission, we have today a special guest, Claudia Fusco. She is the head of unit of the Directorate General for Environment European Commission, and he will welcome later. And further on, Luisa Tendon, you know her because she has been in contact with you all these days. She will host the meeting and she will explain you about the organization details for the meeting. So thank you, Mrs. Fusco, and please go on with your welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't call Mrs. Fusco because this makes me feel even older than I am. So Claudia is my name.
Okay, Claudia.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Muy bien. And no, my presence here is first of all to welcome all of you in this particular situation. Unfortunately, we know already that another meeting which was scheduled and organized by Horst and Demas for March was cancelled because of the last minute coronavirus outbreak, which happened in March, in fact. And then I want to thank Virginia, Luisa, and the team from Cornella for taking the initiative to organize this today's online meeting, and also, of course, my colleague Nicole and the Secretariat of the Green Leaf and Green Capital Award. So for me, I met already, I think, some of you on the 13th of October, because there I joined the network meeting of the European Green Capital Cities. And I'm also, of course, I would like to congratulate the new cities and the winners and also the finalists. I mean, you're all there because you have done a lot of work, you have committed, and you are really, I would say, all of you, you're inspiring other cities. So as you know, I keep on saying this, but this is true. I mean, we are more and more involved and wishing to work closely with you, with the cities, to make the transition towards the circular, I would say, economy, and also the Green Deal objectives become real. And then we would like you to engage more and more with us on environmental objective as part of the European Green. Nobody calls me, huh? But it's I will switch it up. Okay, sorry for that. So I would like to underline that you as finalists and winners of and participants of these networks, you are really one of the pillars of this project of trying to have our cities more sustainable. And it is very important that you also continue to show the example by signing up to our Green City Accord, which is a new framework where we would like to even to draw more attention, the political attention it deserves, environment, and would like you, and some of you have already done so. So I would like to thank and to pay tribute to Torres Vedras in Portugal for signing this Green City Accord, which was launched a few weeks ago, I think at the end of October. And I really count on you. So my main message to you is continue, since you have worked so hard to be where you are, also members of these networks. I think one step further could be to sign this accord and to show to the others that you really want to commit more and more on these specific areas which are of part of this Green City Accord. But on that aspect, I will leave then later the floor to Nicole, my colleague, and she will explain a bit what is this project and what really we're expecting from you and what we are, how we can better support you. And this is my main message. I'm not going to stay the whole time with you. I'm sure you will have to exchange your best practices and other things, but we want to engage with you. And I think that there is a mutual interest to work closely together, because we have to show that we can do these things and the changes can happen on the ground. And that's why we need you. And I really invite you to continue doing your work, the work that you're doing, and to engage more and more with us through the Green City Accord and to inspire other cities. I stop here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Claudia, for your words and for encouraging us. And we are going to start with the meeting. We are really, really glad to have you all here. As Virginia said, I'm Luisa Fendon, and I will be the host during the meeting. Before we start, I will explain the program a bit and also how we are going to organize ourselves, because it's our first meeting online of the network, so it's better to have some organization. Well, I begin with the program. First, Virginia will explain us our Green Leaf Year highlights. That it seems like ages ago, but it was just last year. Second, we will give the floor to our expert panel, who will explain about SBA from different perspectives and backgrounds. After that, two members from the European Commission will explain two projects that are being carried out by the European Commission. And after the European Commission intervention, we will come back to the cities, and Virginia will explain MBAs at our strategic project Cornellà Natura. And after that, every city will have 5 minutes to explain a practice in MBAs. This is the program, and about some technical advices. Please, if you are, well, it's basic, but just to remember, if you are not talking, please turn your micro off. Speakers who have to a presentation, please have them prepared, because you are going to share your screen, so have them prepared. And every time someone has a presentation, we are going to have a bit some minutes for questions, comments, or if we want to express ourselves. We can use 2 different ways. We can use the chat, where you can write them down and I will try to compile them, or you can raise your hand and we will give you the turn to speak. And if you have some technical problems, try to disconnect the camera or rejoin the meeting, or try to do that, because there is anything we can do with that from here. So without further delay, I give the floor to Virginia Valdez, who will explain us our Green Leaf Year highlights. Thank you very much. Virginia, your micro is not connected. You should connect your micro.
Okay, and can you see the screen now, Lisa?
No, but you are starting. You have to pick the screen.
Yeah, you know, always happen this. Okay, just let me try again. Reanudar función. Reanudar compartición. Okay, I try it again because I don't know what happened. Just one moment. Again. Compartir pantalla. Okay. Is it okay now?
Okay, now. Thank you.
Okay.
Put your screen on
okay, like
pantalla
that.
completa.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. Is it okay now, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, to begin, we wanted to start explaining how was our Green Leaf Year last year, because we have done it in another Green Leaf meetings, and we think it's helpful for the cities that obtain the award this year. So, Garrobo and La Planta, I don't know if I'm pronouncing in a good way the name of your cities, but congratulations, by the way. And I think maybe to know what other cities have done during the Green Leaf Year can inspire you. So just to start, well, we enjoyed our Green Leaf Year because it was an opportunity for us to explain to the citizenship why we obtained the award, and also what was our plans for the future with our strategic project Cornellà Natura. Also, it allows us to establish new synergy with other stakeholders, such as universities, companies, other supramunicipal entities. So in this sense, it was an opportunity for us. As the most important event of the Green Leaf Year, we organized an international conference. Some of you came to Cornellà in February 2019, so at least you could stay here with us. And in this conference, we joined together Green Capital and Green Cities. So it was a good opportunity, and I think quite valued to have both types of cities sharing different issues, as it was like the green infrastructure, mobility, climate change. So also it was a good opportunity to join the mayor and with Jana Drake from the European Commission, and to do the unveil of the European plaque of the award. We also organized this meeting with the Barcelona metropolitan area, and in collaboration with the European Commission and the Barcelona Provincial Council, and two companies with an important role in Cornellà, I was the Barcelona and Siemens. So in that meeting, we have both theory with some experts and the practice with you, all the cities, and we include gender criteria, also zero waste criterion, and we did the offset of the event's emissions. So you have all the information about this conference in the web. So if you are interested, you can go on Google and just write the name of the conference, and you can have all the information and all the talks. So this could be nice for you that couldn't come to Cornellà. Well, apart from that, we shared the award with the citizenship of Cornellà. We organized activities all around the year. We started in December 2018, just to say, okay, in 2019 it will be our Green Leaf Year. We start with a Christmas festival where we did some workshop, like making an eco cards with children. And then in February we had the conference that I talked before, and also it was the 10th anniversary of our Green School network, and they work together with an anniversary, like a fest. In March we had another commemorative party, because every year we celebrate the River Fest. So in March we also did it, but with more activities and explaining the Green Leaf Award to all the participants. So in April we have another environmental activity close to the bike month, because it was the bike month. And we wanted to organize like the Green Leaf Fest, but it was not possible because we had Spanish elections, and then when we wanted to reorganize, we had bad weather, so we couldn't do it. Also because in May we had local elections in Cornellà, so it was not possible. But further, we continue to do some activities in order to explain the award to the citizenships. In June, we had our World Environmental Day, and we organized some eco tours around the city. In September, as most of you, we celebrate the Mobility Week. In October, we had a neighborhood fest where we also did a lot of activities. And in November, we celebrate it was the first time that we participate in the Children's Rights International Day, where we also organize lots of activities explaining the award, and with planting some plants for the children, and activities related to mobility. So this was some of the activities that we organized. And finally, in December, we finished our Green Leaf City in the same place where we began it. And it was in this Christmas fest in San Ildefonso, that it is the most populated neighborhood of Cornellà. And we finished with this nice activity called Città Infinita, just that we wanted that people imagine how was the city of the future, no? The most sustainable city. So apart from all these activities to help people to understand what was it mean to be a Green Leaf City, we were like green ambassadors. We have been doing some talks all around Catalonia. We went to the radio here. You can see Emilia, by the way. She is our counselor, and some famous people in Catalonia, journalists and so on. And we also collaborate with a book that Eloy Juvignat, one of our expert coordinate, called Renaturalize the City, where also our work was mentioned in that. Just to finish, about branding and communication, it is also very important to help to disseminate the award. About branding, we were doing some like objects to give to all the workers, like a bottle glass or posters and things like that. But apart from that, we did like the plaque unveiling that we put it in a park. You saw it at the beginning of the presentation. We put some banners on the streets. We distribute this tote bag. We did it like distributed 1,000 tote bags all around in all the different activities that we organize. And we put the European Green Leaf Award logo in Cornella's public service vehicles, such as like the waste management, the cleaning service, the policy. So in all the vehicles, we put our Green Leaf logo. And about the communication, we did like an effort to write every month in like our local magazine for that it is distributed every month in all Cornella households. And apart from that, with the collaboration of the Secretariat, we did our brochure. I think all of your cities are working this brochure every year. And we did an informative, a video to explain our strategic project Cornella Natura, but also why we obtained the award. And the last thing that we did in this sense was in the exhibition that we have, we include, to explain Cornella Natura to the citizenship, we include contents about the Green Leaf European Award. So more or less, this is all the actions that we did in our Green Leaf year. And if you have any doubt, just contact me or Luisa, of course, and we can help you with anything that you need. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Virginia. It's really glad to see all the things that we program in our Green Leaf year. And now we will start with the expert panel. So the first person who is going to talk is Francesc Baró, who is a postdoctoral researcher at Institute of Environmental Science and Technology at Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona. And he's going to introduce two MBAs, and he's going to explain us an European project called Naturbation that is based in nature-based solutions. Thank you very, very much, and the floor is for you, Francesc. Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa. I hope you can hear me well and see my screen.
Yeah, everything is okay. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much to the municipality of Cornellà de Llobregat for inviting me today. As Luisa was saying, I was asked just to briefly introduce the concept of nature-based solutions and provide and show some of the outputs of this European project called Naturbation that obviously is on nature-based solutions as well. I think I have only 10 minutes, so I will try to be brief in my presentation. So basically, as you probably know, the nature-based solutions concept, we call it is an umbrella or boundary concept because meaning that it has a quite broad and ambiguous definition, and it builds or is related to other concepts such as the ones you see here, such as ecological restoration or green infrastructure or ecosystem-based management that have been used in research and practice actually since some years ago. You can see here that some of these concepts have already been using since the 90s. So it's a new concept, but building on let's say, old concepts. Here you can see the if we focus specifically on the concept of nature-based solution, then we see that the development of the concept is quite recent. Like international organizations like the United Nations or the World Bank use it in a couple of reports back in the early 2000s, for example, in the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. But it was basically, or it has been in the last years, in the last, I would say 5-10 years, where the concept has been mainly developed by two international organizations. That is the IUCN and the European Commission, as you can see here. And the European Commission, especially through the Horizon 2020 program, so the Research and Innovation program. And maybe you are also aware that the IUCN launched last summer this global standard for the verification, the design, and the scaling up of nature-based solutions. Okay, so as I was saying, these two main organizations has provided, let's say, a definition on the concept of nature-based solutions, which and also have suggest some main challenges where the nature-based solutions concept can address. So as you can see, both definitions are here in this table, are quite similar, but the IUCN, for example, focus more on the idea of protection, on the idea of sustainable management and restoration, and explicitly mentions that that NBS should provide also biodiversity benefits, not only for, let's say, benefits for humans. And on the other hand, the European Commission focuses more on the idea of cost effectiveness and resilience. And in terms of challenges, even though both are, let's say, include challenges like climate change, of course, or improving risk management, the European Commission also always focus more the nature-based solution concept on the urban setting. So on the idea of sustainable urbanization, for example, while the IUCN also focus more broadly in terms of food and water security, for example, or in terms of sustainable development more generally. And maybe you also know that some years ago there was a suggestion of a basic typology of nature-based solution based on two main criteria: the level of engineering or intervention applied to the biodiversity or ecosystems, and based on the second criteria based on the maximization of the delivery of key or expected ecosystem services. And basically, as you can see, the first type is just simply the better use of natural or protected ecosystems, for example, through a wildlife reserve. The second type is when there is actually a more active management or restoration of ecosystems. And here you can see also an example of a sustainable agroforestry landscape. And the third one, that is probably the one that we are going to see today later with examples from the municipalities, the creation or the management of new ecosystems. Especially this is important in the urban context, of course. And here examples are, for example, the green roofs and or green walls in a building. And based on the definitions that I just mentioned before, so the types 1 and 2 would be more within the framework of the IUCN, and the other, and type 2 and 3 would be more related to the framework of the European Commission. So just moving forward with some of the outputs of this European project Naturbation that I mentioned before, that I've been involved during the last 4 years. Actually, it's going to finish soon, the project. It was a Horizon 2020 project involving 14 institutions, European institutions, including both research centers and city governments and other organizations. And it has basically advanced, the idea was to advance our understanding of urban nature-based solutions in different aspects. For example, in terms of assessment tools, in terms of governance solutions, in terms of innovation as well, stakeholder engagement, and business models. And one of the main outputs that maybe you have seen is the Urban Nature Atlas, which is apparently the most comprehensive database of urban nature-based solutions in Europe. because it includes more than 1,000 interventions from about 100 European cities. Here you can see the link to the atlas. And for each example of nature-based solutions, you can find information on the type of nature-based solution, on the challenges addressed, the project cost, or the management setup. For example, here you can see some of the results or the outputs of the atlas. Most part of the nature-based solutions that you can see in the atlas are related to parks or urban green spaces, but also many are related to green features within gray infrastructure. For example, the implementation of tree alleys, for example, many also related to blue infrastructure or to gardens, such as community gardens or allotment gardens. Okay, just moving forward. Something that we have done also in the project Naturbation was also to, besides this atlas, was to focus more on 18 case study cities where not only secondary data was collected, but also we went to these cities, we did interviews with key stakeholders and even participatory processes, which involve workshops and other interactive activities. This was in these 6 cities that are highlighted in yellow: Barcelona, Győr, Leipzig, Malmo, and Newcastle and Utrecht. And for all of these cities, the goal was to analyze the conditions within which nature-based solutions are emerging, focusing on development, the patterns of governance, as I said before, the impacts, the funding, and the innovation trajectories, and also paying particular attention into factors, into the factors of the processes or the mechanisms that contribute to their success or their failure sometimes, and systemic integration in the city. Just going forward, because I don't want to keep to my 10 minutes. This is another important output of the project, the assessment tool, which is called Urban Nature Navigator, and it has 3 main levels. Here you can see a bit from each of the levels what you can do. Basically, the first, the bronze, it provides just a snapshot of different nature-based solutions that can contribute to address different urban sustainability challenges, and it provides a kind of a score. It's based on indicators contributing to 12 identified urban sustainability challenges. The silver level, it's a bit more advanced, and it includes also, you can use it for in a decision making process with the stakeholder, and the gold level is the more complete, and it's actually a set of tools that can be used in local context to generate values on nature-based solutions in high resolution, for example, with the production of maps, and it's also possible to use it with practitioners and so on. Just to show you very quickly some of the documents that have been produced, like outreach documents that have been produced in Naturbation, as I was saying before, the business model catalog, the governance solutions, the citizens engagement handbook, or the innovation pathways directory. And just finishing, this is also one of the learning tools that we have produced in Naturbation. This is a MOOC, a massive online open course on nature-based solutions that builds on some of the outputs that I just mentioned before in the Naturbation project. And if you are interested, you can just enroll there. It's of course free. And but this is my last slide. Obviously, there are many other projects on nature-based solutions going on in Europe, financed mainly by the Horizon 2020. And also I would like to highlight that there are also platforms such as this OPLA that maybe you already know, which basically is a repository of methods, tools, and case studies related to nature-based solutions, which are basically is fed by all these projects and other initiatives that are going on in terms of nature-based solution. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Frances, for your presentation. It's really interesting. You know that we love Naturbation. It's a very interesting project. And also, I think it's a very useful project for cities. This Atlas, the MOOC, is like a European project that is very applied and useful. And I think this is a very important point. I don't know if there is any questions or comment. Well, there is a comment from Ngogin from Limerick that she really thinks the project is great and she's looking forward to exploring it. I don't know if someone else has any other comment or question. If not, we are going to go to the next speaker. Okay, so next speaker is Minerva Campos. She's an environmental officer at Sustainable and Environmental Education Department at the Metropolitan Area of Barcelona, which is a public statement that it's really related to the cities who are very close to Barcelona. And she's going to explain us nature-based solutions for climate change adaptation at Barcelona Metropolitan Area. This is like over municipalities' view of nature-based solutions. So Minerva, I give you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luisa, and thank you very much to the Cornellà municipality for this invitation. Can you see my presentation? Yes? Is it okay, Luisa?
It's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, okay, I will explain you how from the natural-based solution from a metropolitan perspective and how we are working on this line. Very briefly, the metropolitan area of Barcelona is one of the largest metropolitan areas of Europe. It includes 36 municipalities, and as you can see, it's a complex territory with a mix of developed urbanized areas, woodlands, and natural areas, and also an agricultural land. So the climate of the metropolitan area has been changing in the recent years, and it will continue to change in the coming years. We already know that. We are facing different climate-related risks, such as higher temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, rising sea levels, an increase of extreme weather events, such as more heat waves. So all of these represent a number of challenges for our territory. We want to arrive to a carbon neutrality in 2050. To do that, we also need to increment in a very important way the renewables to make a correct and energetic transition. We need to work really hard to improve adaptations and to have more resilient cities. So the metropolitan area of Barcelona works in line with the European Union climate and energy framework and his targets for 2030. The metropolitan area has his own climate and energy plan 2030, which in big lines includes the strategic actions to reduce emissions, to get an accurate energetic transitions, and to improve adaptation. To address challenges associated with climate adaptations, current policy of the metropolitan area of Barcelona includes in an important way these natural-based solutions. It's important to mention that the metropolitan area is a territorial coordinator of the Covenant of Measures, and because of that, it gives direct support and assessment to the municipalities to have their own local adaptation plans, which include a number of natural-based solutions. I will explain you some examples and in which different departments of the metropolitan area works. The first one is a Metropolitan Plan for Biodiversity Improvement. So, as you already know, the conventional maintenance and management of green urban areas has been changing in the recent years. The new approach refers to have more naturalized areas, green areas, and because of that, this metropolitan plan includes a number of environmental criteria to have a more respectful management and to have more natural conditions in these public metropolitan parks. Another interesting project is the cooling centers network, We have just finished the first phase of this study, which basically consisted in the identification of the potential of the territory to offer this service. We define 4 typologies of cooling centers, and one of these typologies is urban parks. Basically, the criteria of selection for parks and schools, the playground area of the schools, was the presence of vegetations. We realized from this study that more green spaces need to be added to this network, and to do that, we need to improve the quality of the vegetation in our territory. So now we are working in a bioclimatic criteria handbook for municipal technicians, which basically has the objective to give some guidelines and criteria and recommendations to improve the quality of green infrastructure and reduce the urban heat island effect, enhancing the capacity of the vegetation of the urban parks to mitigate this heat. Another project is the BioSolar roofs project. So traditionally, green roofs and photovoltaic panels has been seen as separate solutions, but the integration of these 2 technologies, in fact, increased the efficiency of photovoltaic panels in about 50%. So in the next year, we will start with 4 executive projects in public buildings in 4 different municipalities of the metropolitan area. And the next year, we will, and in 2022, we will start with the first BioSolar roof investment. Another interesting project directed by the Public Space Department is a low water crossing bridge at the LLOBREGAT River. It's very interesting because this infrastructure permits the free circulation of the water, and when the water flow is low, it is possible to cross the river. So this project also includes the recovery of the riparian ecosystems in this portion of the municipality, and it has also an important objective to connect different municipalities, San Feliu de Llobregat, and Molins de Rey, and San Vicente del Sors, and it is adapted to pedestrians and bicycles. Also, at the Llobregat River, but in another municipality, there is a recovery of the fluvial environment project, and which includes a number of different interventions, such as the enlargement of the Park de la Solana, a cycling route, different pedestrian paths which were actually vegetated to create a visual barrier to the industrial area, but also to improve the people's thermal comfort along the river. And last but not least, the project to recover the coastal dunes in the coastal line of the metropolitan area. In this project have participated different municipalities, and as you already know, these areas, these ecosystems has been very impacted because intense recreative use. And at the same time, we know that these ecosystems play a central role in coastal defense and protection, not just against sea level rise, but also against big storms. So the idea is these are just some examples of how we are approaching these natural-based solutions from a metropolitan perspective, but we want to increase in an important way in the coming years these natural-based solutions in the territory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minerva. You know that for us it's very important, your view from the metropolitan area, and also to collaborate with some of these projects. And I don't know if there is any question or any comment to Minerva's presentation. So as we are a bit in a delay, I will pass the floor to LLOBREGAT, architect specialized in urban greening at Barcelona province government, who we also work a lot with them. And he's going to explain the relation between nature-based solutions and health. Thank you. Can you put your presentation? Okay, that's okay. Thank you, Eloy, your turn.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to invite me to share knowledge and learn from you.
Eloy, we don't hear you properly. I think it's your micro. Try again.
No?
No, a bit closer.
No?
No, a bit closer to your mouth.
Okay, now?
Okay, and now it's better, but you have to keep it close to your mouth.
Okay.
See? Let me check.
Yes?
No, more or less, more or less. Well, we'll start and I will interrupt you if we don't hear you. Okay.
Okay, just I want to start with some previous concepts that I'm sure that many of you already know, but I think they are important. First of all is that the world is becoming urban, and it will be our game board for the years to come. So nature-based solutions that will be used in this context. When the European Commission, the Joint Research Center, has identified urban health as one of the main challenges of the 21st century cities, he had mentioned public space as an opportunity for cities to improve their livability and urban health. In particular, he speaks about greenering of all these spaces. So the nature-based solutions will be the opportunity that we will have to increase our quality of life in cities and our urban health.
Eloy, people, we don't hear you properly.
Okay, I will try another thing.
Yeah.
You listen me better now?
Okay, now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Just go on. Okay, let's talk about urban challenges or urban health challenges. A urban model was created to respond to the challenges of the 19th century, the high mortality of these infectious diseases as cholera, typhus, dysentery, and the Industrial Revolution. The model worked initially and allow an exponential growth of cities, but it has been enabled to adapt the 20th and 21st century challenges, the climate adaptation, and the non-communicable diseases, obesity, diabetes, corona, mental health, illness. Some of them has been classified as a lifestyle urban diseases, assuming that living in the city entails a health penalty. We seem to be going back to the 19th century. We are having infectious pandemics again, and life expectancy in the countryside is higher than in the cities. Just in 2020, coronavirus has caused around 200,000 deaths, but air pollution has doubled that figure, and it's increasing year by year. Well, but it's only a mirage. The riots in the city, in the streets, are because we want to recover our social life. We want to be citizens again, but in cities that offer us a better quality of lives. This is no longer a matter of fate. No, we have strong scientific evidence that shows the relations between nature and health. Our healthcare system is consuming more and more resources. Maybe it's time to invest in prevention, that it's much cheaper than acting later. Nature-based solutions are our cheapest tool to do it and allow it to act and allow us to act on several changes at the same time: adaptation, health, social cohesion. We need green every day to see it, to smell it, to step on it, to walk and run it, to play it and to eat it. And to achieve all these benefits, these solutions must contain the parameters I show you on the desk, and they must be planned. just to highlight what Frances Barrow says, nature-based solutions in the city must be multitask. We can't only have one nature-based solution for biodiversity or another for cultural activity or for cohesion or for health. Nature-based solution must act in all the fronts, and they must be really planned. So now I will show you some tools we have developed in the Diputación de Barcelona to plan all these nature-based solutions. The first of them, so we have two basic strategies to bring nature for nature-based solutions. The first is to bring nature close to people. The second is to bring people into the nature. The first one involves transforming existing spaces in the city downtown, which must answer at the same time to the multiple citizen requirements. So we do master plans to implement the World Health Organization recommendations about to have a green space in less than 300 meters from every citizen, and to have from 10 to 15 square meters for habitant. This I show you is the master plan of La Garriga. It's a small town, and the project is the master plan is to achieve to have the population in less than 300 meters from a big green space. In the first one, in above, you see the colors. In the blue is the people that is in the range of the 300 meters from a green space. And the project is to transform some of these spaces in the downtown to achieve this objective. If we do it with the urban planning, it should be really easier and cheaper than if we do it before, because with this transformation, we can active the private sector too, and to join them to the objectives. The second one is to facilitate access to the peri-urban spaces. We will not use them if they are not easy to reach. And if they have not facilities, they have no fountains, no spaces to rest, we wouldn't go to this. We don't go to the forest. We go to spaces that we recognize that it's easy to go there and that they have facilities. One, I want to highlight that our studies says that clusters for more than 2,000 inhabitants already present pattern of styles of urban life. And the problem is that in a lot of our small towns, people move by car, always, and they don't do sports and they don't use these natural resources. So we lose half of the potential of nature-based solutions if we don't activate and use it. And I think this is a really important thing to do, because if not, nature-based solutions are only for biodiversity, and we need to active them for a lot of other things. The last one I want to show you is the master plan program of BIC that we are involved in it. The European Commission says again that well-being can be improved by urban planning. So they say us to use urban planning to do all these facts. If we use health indicators to plan our cities from the outset, and we evaluate the health impact, we will save on health costs and on the reforms that will come after. Cities are, above all, our habitat, and it should provide us with a health environment, or a health home. In this example of big master plan, which cross health indicators with urban determinants to analyze hotspots and evaluate proposals. For example, the proposals of a peri-urban nature space, Puigdels fields, to improve, to involve it in the city and improve the health of its citizens. You see here, just one time, okay. There you have the urban determinants and the health indicators. So if you cross them, you can fix on the map the hotspots and the solutions that nature-based solutions and other can bring to you to increase the health of your citizenships. In this case, this is Puigdels, is sorry, is the Putelgeuse is all this part of the city that it wasn't, the citizens hasn't access to this part before, and they are trying to make access and to bring facilities so people can go there and do sports and as a biodiversity space and other things. So now you, with the indicators, you can evaluate it and you can know what benefits gives to you. This is important because a master plan, maybe it will involve 15 years to achieve it. And you need to look year by year if your benefits are improving or not. Now we are involved in the Healthy Cities Urban project that is trying to share all of these indicators and this methodology for other cities. But what I want to say you is that green matters, and if you look all the entries or all the statistics in the European Union, you can see that every 7 of 10 European people choose their place to live if there has a green park or a nature-based solution nearby. I think it's important. Well, I think I'm really fast, but I wanted to have some question. I think it's better.
Okay, thank you, Eloy, for your presentation, and to be accurate with time. We have a question from Nicole that I think there is also an answer in the chat, but I think if you want to yourself to make the question, Nicole, it's okay for us, or you prefer me to say it as you want?
No, it's fine. Can you all hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. You can.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
We don't see you.
Okay, I'm just starting the video, but while the system is okay, so I'll just go. Yeah, I just have a question on this green space, which is, less than 300 to 400 meters away. Of course, it contributes to health. I mean, like in increased air quality, perhaps, or physical activity, and so on. But the question is more on how did you calculate those reduction of costs of pharmaceuticals, and do you mean pharmaceuticals in terms of medicines, and how did you come up with this 20% figure? This is the question. Thanks.
Well, I show you only 1 or 2 studies that in the image, but there are a lot of studies. What they do is they took a group of persons. They took 2 groups of persons, one that is near of a green space and another that not, and they compare. They compare the illness and the use of pharmacs. This is usually what they do in all these studies. It's the methodology, but we have a lot of studies in Europe, and all are bringing the same data to us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from the floor for Eloy? If not, Eloy, can you please close your presentation? Your sharing screen, please.
Yes, I'm trying.
Yeah. Okay. And now it's the turn for Nicole, who has just talked. She's going to explain us the Green City Accord. And Nicole Wonders is the responsible from the European Commission of the Green Leaf and Green Capital Networks. And she works in the Director General for Environment of the European Commission. So Nicole, is your turn. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just putting up the presentation. Okay. Okay, I hope you can all see.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
put full screen. It's better. if you put full screen, if you can.
Oh God, I must admit it's the very first time I'm doing this. And I'm already happy that I managed to connect to Zoom, because the Commission's, you know, computers or system are not that friendly to anything we don't own. So if you can all see, I'll just propose to go ahead. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I've just to start off saying that I've been, you know, really inspired by the presentations of this morning. It's really heartening to see what is happening at city level, and how this also connects to what we're doing at the European Commission. And it actually ties in very well with what I'm going to present. So as was said quite rightly, I manage the European Green Capital and Green Leaf Awards, and also you know, work with the city networks. And I'm here today to replace my colleague Helen McCarthy, who's in charge of the Green City Accord. So on the next slide. So what is this Green City Accord that also Claudia has been mentioning? So we know that 70 or more than 70% of people in Europe live in urban areas, and they are of course the, well, you know, leading to all sorts of issues. They're the hotspots of environmental pollution, but they also are, you know, we consider them as the hubs to provide innovative solutions and play a key role in actually making things better. Why do we need why do we need this? Well, as been said before by Louis, the air pollution is on the rise. It's actually the cause of death of 400,000 people in the EU per year. Noise is the second environmental killer. Noise levels are also on the rise. Our rivers, lakes, and coastal areas are not in the state that they should have been. Urban sprawl is causing, you know, land degradation, sealing soil, having an impact on nature and biodiversity, and waste management is, let me put it very simple, not maybe as it should be. So these 5 areas I just mentioned: air, noise, water, waste, and nature and biodiversity are the policy areas of our DG. And they are also what the Green City Accord is all about. So we want, with this Green City Accord, to launch a movement of cities to help safeguard the environment. And by signing this Green City Accord, city leaders, they actually pledge to take more action, to make their city greener and cleaner and healthier places, but of course also generally to provide a better quality of life for their citizens. Now, the policy areas I mentioned, they are, as you are probably very well aware, they're all enshrined in the European Green Deal. Some of the actions that our DG is directly responsible have already been launched, like the Circular Economy Action Plan in March this year, the Biodiversity Strategy in May, which Ben will talk about later, and also the Zero Pollution Ambition that is going to be published next year. So yes, why this Green City Accord? Well, I think I already talked about this. So what is this vision of the Green City Accord? Well, we want to bring together mayors and leaders across Europe who share a common vision and to make an impact actually by 2030. We want to contribute for cities to be, you know, good places to live, attractive places to live, with clean air, clean water, access to parks and green spaces, and low levels of noise. The circular economy will be a reality. Then the waste will have become, well, not just a resource by reusing and repairing and recycling, but also avoiding, maybe looking at innovative ways. So the goal of the Green City Accord is when, you know, mayors decide to sign it, they actually pledge to take action in the 5 policy areas that I mentioned. So for instance, taking actions to improve air qualities and or to improve the quality of water bodies, to increase the extent and the quality of green areas in the city, advance towards a circular economy and reduce noise pollution. These goals are also enshrined in the so-called political declaration, which we would ask the cities, the mayors to sign. And I will share that with you by email. You will have the full text of this political declaration. So the question is, however, why should you join with everything else we are aware that is proposed by the Commission? Why should you as a city join this initiative? So we would like to give you benefits such as increased Europe-wide visibility. We want you to contribute to shaping EU environment policy and become part of a community of like-minded cities to drive the transition. So we want to work with you in making this happen. We want, you can increase your transparency and accountability and credibility vis-a-vis others, so basically showing how good you're doing and how you do things in order so that others can learn from you. You can gain access to information on EU funding opportunities, participate in networking events, and receive tailored guidance and support via a dedicated help desk. And you can benchmark your achievements against progress in other cities. So how to join? But this is the political declaration that I've mentioned. The first step would be to sign the declaration, and this would be done by a mayor or an equivalent representative. And then within 2 years, you would need to define targets in the 5 domains. You can select one or more. You're not obliged to select all of the 5 domains, and the cities themselves, they define what the targets are. So then you act, the city plans and implements the policies and to achieve the targets by 2030. And then the last point is the monitoring and the reporting, where we would like you to report back on the progress that has been achieved. On this monitoring and reporting, my colleagues are currently working on a system of reporting to allow you and to help you. Just what I can say right now is that this will be available by the end of the year, that we will present it at the network meeting in LATI in January. This is the network meeting connected to LATI's official opening of their year on 15 January, but I will suggest to invite the Green Leagues as well to this part. In particular on the agenda. The reporting will be very light. This is what I can tell you already. We are currently working on indicators and they're being developed. I understood that Ben is also helping to develop indicators on the nature and biodiversity aspect. And you would be allowed, of course, to build on existing data, for instance, that you have reported through the EU directives, or also, city level data or data that you would have available on a national level. So this would be all allowed. Then, yes, I'm sorry, I'm a bit jumping slides to slides. I'm sorry about this. So on the monitoring and reporting that I just talked about, you will report on progress every 3 years through this online tool that I mentioned. And also the indicators, this common set of indicators to allow for benchmarking, really. Then, yes, just one point to mention on the monitoring and reporting. I know that you would be or possibly are aware of the Green City tool that we have already launched during Green Week in 2018. And this is a separate tool, but we are working in each environment to basically streamline the work. And it is not about creating an additional tool. Then the support for the Green City Accord, well, there is a help desk to help you with your queries, to guide you to resources in terms of guidance documents, to put you into touch with city or experts at our side. We are looking at the moment into the possibility of funding. So for those cities who would sign up to the Accord, that they would receive or have better access to EU funding. Mainly for the moment, we're looking at LIFE, which is the money pot managed by DG Environment and also DG Klima. And then, of course, we're working with DG Regio and RTD for the Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe projects, for instance. Support will also be giving through even more networking. So obviously beyond this group, it's capacity building through peer-to-peer learnings, it's exchange of knowledge and expertise, it's exchange of best practice, really. So yeah, so this is just a general information. If you would have want more information right now, check out the website. You can also always write to the email address which is on screen. I'm happy to take questions right now, try to answer them, but if I cannot, of course I will pass them to my colleague Helen McCarthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nicole. We have a question in our chat from Karen Westergaard from Neighbor Municipality. You want to make yourself the question, Karen? Or you prefer me to do so?
Okay, I can read it on screen if that's okay.
Okay.
It's a very, thanks. It's a very valid question. Yes, indeed. It's how can I put this? It is connected to the Covenant of Mayors. Actually, the idea comes from the Covenant of Mayors, and we would the vision or the aim is to eventually, in some years, join the Covenant of Mayors, so that the Covenant of Mayors would extend to environmental topics, the ones in particular I've just mentioned. We are aware that the Green City Accord is a little bit different in terms of setup than the Covenant of Mayors, but there are already talks going on with DG Ener, DG Climate and the Covenant of Mayors office and to reinforce cooperation. Maybe I could invite Ben to join the discussion, because he was in my unit, and before leaving to Unit D2 on biodiversity, he launched the Green City Accord and the contract.
Hi, can you see me or hear me?
Yes, we can see you both.
Yes, I think the idea for the Green City Accord was inspired by the Covenant of Mayors, really, and I witnessed the Covenant of Mayors, people involved in that for a long time, saying, oh, we should expand the Covenant of Mayors to cover maybe air quality a little bit more in detail, and then it started covering adaptation to climate change, as some of you will maybe know, which then that itself covers certain nature-based solutions and nature biodiversity aspects of city planning. So the idea was in DG Environment that we would try and develop something along those lines and just test it basically and see if it could work on air quality, noise, nature and biodiversity, waste and water, as Nicole has said, which is why we launched this pilot project, which I think is something we're going to, I guess, do for it's a 2-year contract, and then maybe have a discussion about how it is. It could maybe the Covenant of Mayors is such a big beast that it would be impossible to join or to merge, and we run something separately, but which is slightly different. Maybe we join, maybe we just don't do anything. But the project is being run by ICLE, Eurocities and CEMR. Hopefully you will be invited to contribute and to say what you think about the whole idea at some point. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. Is there any more questions for Nicole or Ben about the Green City Accord? Today we are like a bit asleep. Okay, let's continue with Ben, and it's your turn to present your presentation about European Commission Biodiversity Strategy 2030, and also say that Ben was in charge of the Green Leaf Network for a while. So most of us know him, and we are glad to have you here with us today. So it's your turn, Ben. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Perfectly.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you briefly about the EU biodiversity strategy. I'm aware we're rather short on time, and I suspect also you might want to ask some questions. The big message that I want to pass on is that biodiversity, since the new Commission run by Ursula von der Leyen has started with the Vice President Frans Timmermans, I would say biodiversity has become a much higher priority. I've been working for the Commission for 20 years, which is quite a long time. It feels like a long time. And I've never seen, and I've been mostly working on environmental policy, and it has waves of how important it is, but those even at its high point, it was always a lower priority than a lot of other things. And since maybe the financial crisis, I would say environmental policy has been talked about with concern, but it's taken a backseat to finance and economy and climate change and all these sorts of things. And the European Green Deal really sort of changes that landscape and says that nature and biodiversity and climate change and economy and health and everything is much more closely linked, and that we can't ignore the loss of biodiversity, and we must protect and restore our nature. So if no other message you take from this, just know that for at least the next 4 or 5 years, I think when we're having arguments and discussions about nature and biodiversity and environmental policy at European level, it has a higher weight and a higher sort of profile. I mean, even though we want to change things and we're trying to change things that have been institutionalized for a long time, so the relationship between I would say structural funding, agriculture policy, etc., and nature protection, I would say the balance is not quite right if we want to achieve our aims. Hopefully that will change over the next few years, but let's see. So I think probably because we are a group of like-minded people, I don't need to tell you about how serious the global biodiversity crisis is. I will share these slides with you, but I think you would have to be fairly preoccupied with other things not to realize that we have a very high extinction rate, and each report that comes out, and we've had a couple this year from international organizations and the European Environment Agency, each State of the Environment report shows that things are worse than we thought. So it's the biodiversity crisis is really high profile at the moment for all the wrong reasons, I would say. Biodiversity underpins sustainable development. I hope you all realize that as well. But these are the sort of key points that we make in our briefings on biodiversity. That biodiversity is one of the key threats for humanity. It says here that almost half of global GDP is linked to nature. I mean, all of it is. In fact, if you didn't have any nature, global GDP would be completely meaningless. I would argue that we need to go well beyond even looking at GDP as a measure, and that we have to integrate biodiversity and nature into it anyway. And the other thing which I think is really important is the link between biodiversity loss and climate change. We now really recognise at the highest level. So the President of the Commission recognises that climate change, biodiversity loss is one of the major, if not the major cause of climate change, and restoring nature and biodiversity, natural areas, wetlands, peatlands, reforesting properly, thinking about our agriculture, etc., is one of the ways, the main ways now, one of the to help tackle climate change. And climate change as well itself is a sort of positive feedback loop that is causing biodiversity loss at an increasing rate. So these things are one in the same policy. In my opinion, the fact that they're two different departments in the European Commission is itself not very wise. The link to the pandemic is there, but I don't think we really need to talk about that. But basically, the restoring biodiversity is considered to be part of the recovery. So why are we tackling this problem now? It's about our role in the world. We are just about to have another biodiversity summit, COP15, which will be in China. And we want to lead the way and show that we are in Europe setting an example. There's the recovery, which I mentioned, and the urgency. So the new EU biodiversity strategy for 2030 is, I'd say, one of the things to realize is that we have a biodiversity strategy for 2020, and almost all of the targets and aims of that biodiversity strategy were not met. And this is something which is, extremely depressing. And you sort of think, well, what's the point of having a strategy if you're going to just have another strategy when you haven't met the first one? So what has happened with this EU biodiversity strategy for 2030 is that it's been taken up a step, and a lot of the things which didn't work for the 2020 strategy we now plan to enshrine in legislation for the 2030 strategy. I'll talk about that in a second. It's got the 4 elements: protecting nature, restoring nature, enabling transformative change, and an ambitious global agenda. I don't have much time, so I'll just run through the headlines of this, and obviously you can read the biodiversity strategy yourself, or you can have these slides, but we're going to massively increase the protected areas in the EU. You'll know about Natura 2000 sites. They currently cover, I think, about 18% of land and less than 10% of marine and sea areas, and that's going to increase to 30% of land and 30% of sea. And then we're going to have this subgroup which will represent 10% of land and sea, which will be strictly protected, and those will include old growth forests and areas that have special need and special very high ecosystem service, as we say. So maybe they're very good for climate change or something of that nature. And then the new big thing, the second thing, is this EU Nature Restoration Plan, which will include legally binding targets, and we're going to make a proposal for that next year. Those legally binding targets are going to fall within, I think, the 8 key ecosystems of the new EU ecosystem assessment, which was launched a couple of months ago. I can send the link for that around. It's really worth looking at. But that's if you've heard of the MASS project, the monitoring and evaluation of ecosystems and their services, or something along those lines, this is the big EU evaluation, and it basically categorizes different ecosystems and looks at the indicators and how they're doing, and it's basically going to be our framework going into the future. One of the ecosystems are urban ecosystems, so that's urban and peri-urban ecosystems, and I would definitely recommend having a read of that if you're interested. And we're going to set legally binding targets potentially in various ecosystems. So trying to restore wetlands, stop the decline in peatlands and wetlands, and then increase those and restore them back to a favourable status or positive trend. The EU Restoration Plan also includes new targets and rules which we're going to try and put in place on agroecology, and so relating to farming and forestry and pesticides and for pollution. So there's a whole range of things which you could have a look at. I can't go into too much detail now, but there's also a big tree planting plan. Just checking the time. We're talking about soil, we're talking about rivers, and then there's this new urban greening proposal. So there's a section on urban greening, which I'm going to talk about in a second. The transformative change part of the biodiversity strategy. So I've talked about the protected areas, then the EU Nature Restoration Plan, and the transformative change is about governance. Someone's talking, and I can't hear it properly, so I don't know if someone's trying to send me a message. I can't hear. If someone's trying to talk to me, I can't hear them. Is there a problem?
Now, Ben, I have put the micro of the person.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, just checking there wasn't a problem with my.
No. Go ahead. It was someone who was just coming to the meeting. Okay,
just another few minutes. So the third element is this enabling transformative change, and that's about governance. It's about a new monitoring and measurement framework. So that's going to also be something which may be enshrined in law, that member states have to report more clearly, linked to this EU framework that I mentioned earlier on ecosystem services. And I think we're really trying to say, if we've got to take this more seriously, and a bit like, actually there's a parallel with the Green City Accord, looking at what's happened on climate change and energy with the Covenant of Mayors, and saying, well, let's try and do it a bit like that. I think with nature and biodiversity, we're also trying to say, look, there is a framework for measuring, monitoring and setting targets on climate change, and we need to do it for nature and biodiversity too. And then there's the ambitious global agenda, which I mentioned earlier, and I won't go into details of that now. I'm just going to mention the urban greening plans, because in the biodiversity strategy, the Commission calls on European cities to develop ambitious urban greening plans. It says by the end of 2021, which is, I'll be honest, unrealistic. But what we have in mind here is basically to try and get, I mean, a lot of what you've talked about in this meeting today, all the members of this network, Green Capitals and Green Leaves, obviously already have what I would classify essentially as an urban greening plan. What we want to do is to develop a sort of framework, a template guidance of what constitutes an urban greening plan that could help cities who are not so advanced just to follow a step-by-step process to make one, and encourage them to do so. So providing knowledge, support, linking it obviously potentially to funding, and really trying to get more cities to map, monitor and look at their nature and biodiversity, linking it to other policies, allowing different departments or encouraging different departments to work together, and basically hoping that everyone will have a dedicated biodiversity and nature officers in their administration. And we're going to link this to the Green City Accord. And in fact, you'll see to the Green Capital and Green Leaf awards themselves. All of these things are essentially different versions of the same type of thing. So the Green Capital and Green Leaf awards, obviously you're asked to look at your nature and biodiversity and show that you have some form of strategic approach. An urban greening plan is a representation of that, which we want to spread much more widely. The Green City Accord as well. So these are all aspects of the same thing. I see the Green City Accord indicators and action plans as being the same basically as the urban greening plan, but we want to bring this all together and make it a nice sort of coherent system. So let's see if we can do that. I think that's all I have to say. This slide just has a sort of summary of the, I'd say, rather exciting and ambitious aspects of the new biodiversity strategy. So I'm going to stop sharing and then see if anyone has any questions for me.
Okay.
Which they probably don't, because I've covered everything so
thank you, Ben. Thank you for your
comprehensively.
time. And there is any question for Ben from the floor? Anyone wants to talk? Ike, you can express yourself if you want.
Just ask for the other cities that we are preparing a biodiversity strategy or program, and it should be finished in next April. So, do other cities have something like this already? That was my question.
So, are you saying that other cities have biodiversity strategies? Yeah, in my experience, lots of cities who I've worked with the Green Capital and Green Leaf, I mean, almost all have fantastic biodiversity strategies, in slightly different ways, slightly different formats, but the key elements are invariably the same. Some form of mapping of both nature, land use, and biodiversity in the city, soil sealing with some form of monitoring in process in place, and then some form of target and planning system. I mean, that's pretty much the same the way to approach any environmental problem, I think. And yeah, my experience is that a lot of cities do have the key elements for an urban greening plan, and the ones who end up applying for Green Leaf and Green Capital are those who have really brought them together and got quite excited about the benefits of them. I mean, we really want to sell benefits, so cities realize that nature-based solutions have really they're cheaper than other solutions, often in the long term if you account properly, and they have lots of knock-on co-benefits for recreation, for people's health, for noise, for air quality, for adaptation to climate change, for helping to reduce flooding and heat island effect and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of cities have something. What we want to do is give it some form of structure and then go from there.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Any more questions for Ben? Or any comments?
I see someone has asked, how do we ensure that the EU biodiversity strategy goals will be accomplished? Legally binding targets means literally that we are going to set the targets for the different ecosystem restoration in law at European level. So member states will have to meet them. So in the same way that we have legally binding targets for air quality, legally binding targets for water quality, some stuff on waste management targets, we will have them for restoring wetlands, peatlands, river restoration, and various other areas. It's very different. Ecosystems are different, very, very different, and some it's possible to set legally binding targets, and others it's not. So, and sometimes it's meaningful and sometimes it's not. But that's what we're looking into in the next year before proposing something. I'm just seeing if there are any other questions here.
There are comments from the cities that we are like sharing strategies, and we are talking about sharing them, that it could be a good point after this meeting that we can share the Green City Accord, and also to share our strategies in biodiversity, but also nature-based solutions, because I think we are all in the same, so it's quite good to share.
Yeah, I mean, on that sharing, share them with me as well. That would be great. And if you could sort of, what I would really love from the network, how you can help me, us, the Commission in developing this urban greening plan template guidance, is to think about, for your urban greening plan or your biodiversity plan and your nature plan, what are the key elements that you think every city should know about? I mean, it might, for your specific city or town, okay, that there are very personalized aspects, but some things are just generic, and all small cities might benefit from thinking, you know, what is the first thing that you really had to do to get it to work? What are the absolute key elements, the starting points, and then what's the follow-up? And it's those big key messages that will be really, really useful. Now, as we develop we haven't decided exactly how we're going to develop the guidance yet and what the template will look like, but as we do it, I'm planning to share it with you lot, and hopefully you will help to say this works, this doesn't, do this, don't do that. The same with our indicators. You know, some things it's very good to set up a target, a monitoring measurement. We've seen some of those in the presentations that have come out this morning, but other things, you know, you can't. Cities are so different in the north and south of Europe, the east and west, that sometimes setting very specific targets is a bit meaningless. So yeah, we need to really think about that as well. Thank you.
This is Nicole speaking. I'd just like to add one point to what Ben just said, and reaching out in terms of Commission to the networks and so on. I would like to flag that the Commission is in the process of, you know, tender evaluation for a contractor to support the networks. One of the parts of this contract will be supporting the networks in terms of organization of thematic workshops. The workshop topics will be linked to what we as DG Environment need to deliver on the, you know, the Green Deal objectives, and of course the biodiversity strategy. So from my side, I'd like to propose that when we go into organizing and going more into depth with the cities, that this workshop could be organized and facilitated by Unit A3 in support of what Ben just said. It's an offer. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ben and Nicole, for explaining to our European Commission projects. We're a bit of a delay, so we are going to give the floor to Virginia, who will explain nature-based solutions in Cornellà Natura, that is our strategic project. So Virginia, it's your turn now.
Okay. Thank you, Luisa. I'm always having problems with sharing my screen, sorry.
We can hear you, but we don't see the screen.
Yeah, just I should have practiced more with that. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, thank you for all the presentation, and I think it was really interesting to hear all the experts and to know more about the nature-based solutions and how about the implementation, and also to the European Union, Nicole and Ben, thank you very much, because I think you give us the framework. Now the cities will explain in a more detailed aspects, how are we implementing these nature-based solutions. And I will start explaining a bit of Cornellà. Sorry. I think most of you came to Cornellà last year, but for those who couldn't come, just knowing that Cornellà is located in the metropolitan area of Barcelona, quite close to Barcelona city. And the population is almost 90,000 inhabitants. And what I think it is remarkable is that we have a very high density in our city. So this is quite relevant for us, because in such small space, we have to obtain a good quality of life. So how are we trying to do that? In 2016, we start with a project. It was, well, when Ben was talking about the urban greening plan, maybe it was something similar. It has not only as one of the, not only the greening, like one of the goals, but also the things like mobility or improve the environmental quality, but mostly it is focused on greening the city. This strategic project, as I explained you, is based in green infrastructure. And what I think it is more relevant, it is like a political vision, a global and integrated vision. I think it is important that our department, that it is the one who is trying to how to say, like, not Cornellà Natura is in our department, it is in all the departments, but it is our department in the presidency department. I think this is quite relevant because it's like the strategic, and from the political point of view, it's quite important. So this strategic program is based in 5 axes or corridors, and they try to connect and articulate the cities, neighborhoods, equipments, and also to connect all the parks and the streets with the river. For us, the LLOBREGAT river that Minerva explained before about this river, it's quite important because it's the only natural asset that we have in our municipality. Well, but this project that I explained you, Cornellà Natura project, started in 2016, but since 2017, we start working on it. So now it is a long-term project by 2013, but we start acting on the streets, on the squares, on the parks, and with large scale interventions, but also the small ones. So, but always we are trying to apply this vision of greening the city to every action that we carry out. And this is where nature-based solutions come in. So we want that all the actions that we are taking on, they are more sustainable, more environmental, and more friendly. Also because we are preparing for the climate change crisis that is almost here. So these are some of the integration in the axes or the corridors. We have ACT, and you can see that we have acting on parks, on streets, on squares, so in different types of urban areas. We distinguish 3 MBS typologies. In an urban city, maybe in another, in a rural, it would be quite different, but in an urban area, we thought these were nice typologies to work in. We have ground green spaces in the public space, allows to improve the environmental criteria of the surroundings, the aesthetics, and also make cities friendlier and healthier. Then we have green on built environment. And in our case, that as I explained before, we are a very dense cities, so it is very important to find available space to incorporate green infrastructure. And finally, we have nature-based solutions for water management. Also in the Mediterranean regions where Cornellà is located, water management, it is one of our main challenges to adapt to climate change. Also, saving water resources is very important as being prepared for floods. So it is very important to work in both directions. Another thing that it is remarkable is that not always we have the same scale for applicating the NBS. We can applicate them in buildings where people live to improve their comfort, or in neighborhoods close to the citizenships, or in the urban or citywide actions that the impact will be in the whole municipality, but also, as explained before, in the peri-urban or rural, in our case, peri-urban areas. And also to connect and integrate these peri-urban areas with the built-up areas. Well, to start on with the first typology in MVS ground green spaces, I will show you different examples where we have been carrying out these MBS solutions. To start, we have been working with parks, as Francesc said before, parks and community gardens, were one of the main places where we can apply NBS solutions. And this was our work with, also we integrated sustainable urban drainage systems. And also we work with a global vision in, as you can see in this picture, and in fact, is where we put our European green leaf flag, just to show this, because also it is very close to the city center. We can also have new green spaces. This is an embankment that it was located in a degraded space, and now we have this new area where people can walk, and it is also connecting different green areas around the city. As we said before, biodiversity, to have biodiversity spaces, it's also really important. We need to act also considering biodiversity aspects. And we also think that by these biodiversity places can help to aware people, because we can do some activities, like you can see in this butterfly garden. We also have installed insect hotel, working with nest boxes. So these are examples of structures to facilitate habitats. And finally, we are working hard on street trees. We need more trees in our streets. In fact, the other day I read that at least we need 15 trees for every inhabitant. So, and now in Gornaya we have 1 tree for 3 inhabitants. So we still have to work on this, but not only increasing the number, but also like all the quality or the vegetation that we are working in. We have to have bushes and stratificate the vegetation. Well, we also have urban gardens in Cornellà. We have 3 spaces in the municipality for elderly people or vulnerable people, and we try to promote the agroecology and the composting of organic waste on them. Apart from that, we have green schools. We have a network of schools for sustainability with, as I explained you before, with 10 years of life, and where we have 21 schools participating on it. So in these schools, we are working with environmental issues, but especially in their playgrounds. We want them to be more natural, and also with gardens. Also working the agriculture with the students. We think it's very important also because Cornellà de Llobregat had an agriculture tradition some years ago. Also, we have these pocket parks has an important role because they are connecting our green infrastructure. So we are working on them too. And finally, but not less important, of course, it's the river ecosystem. In this case, some super-municipal bodies, as the Metropolitan Area of Barcelona, like as Minerva explains before, are working on it, but we also are doing some restoration actions, and we are working with public science and participation projects. Well, focusing on build, as I explained, we need space in Cornellà. So we have green roofs, only 2 green roofs, not more. But we are also, because in existing buildings, it's not always easy to implement these solutions. But we're just also exploring that because the maintenance it's quite high. Another solution that we implemented 2 years ago, it was this green wall. It is quite big, also because it is in a square where we cannot plan anything because we have a parking for cars there. So we implement this solution, and also a lot of people were doing later this mural that you can see here, remarking that it is very important here in Catalan said Sant Ildefons, the neighborhood I explained before. It is a neighborhood for living. So we think it's quite important to implement these solutions in a dense neighborhood in this case. Also, we have some green walls in the school. We also work with green barriers. You can see here one of the most historical places in Cornellà, the castle. and we work with barriers. What we want to improve also is the biodiversity in these barriers, because not always are like with the best type of vegetation. We want also to have a vegetation more resilient and adapted to climate change. Also, another type of solutions that we have in our city, they are these pergolas path. Pergolas not only make for more urban, not are only important for the urban greening, but also for the shade. And as I explained, we need to find these solutions also for climate change, and we're working with different type of pergolas, some with greening pergolas, another with photovoltaic systems. But this is as we imagine our pergolas in the future. Also, we implemented this furniture in the wells of the trees. Here you can read Cornellà Natura, our strategic program, of course, and we said plus biodiversity plus health. So we are also trying to help people to connect both concepts, biodiversity and health. And finally, we have the private green. We don't have so many buildings in our city with this type of green, but of course it is really, really important that every time more buildings could have this type of greening. And one option for promoting it could be the green taxation. We don't have still this option in Cornellà, but maybe some of your cities, you have this and you can explain your experiences. Well, finally, the last typology of NBS, it is for water management. As I said, it is they are quite important for us, this type of solutions. We have implemented bioretention systems in the park, as I explained you before, combining greening and water management. And in this park, it was really good to implement this one, and it is working quite well because it was a slope park with a lot of drainage problems. So we had implemented 3 sustainable urban drainage systems, and they work quite well. We are also working on improving our use of underground water. We have a lot of underground water and with a very good quality in Cornellà, but till now we are only using it for watering some gardens and for some sportive installation. So now we have a study and we hope we could implement it to water the main park of the city with underground water, and also to use the water for the cleaning the nearest streets of Cornellà. We have also these permeable pavements. We are implementing it every time more in the works that we are carrying out. Also because we need to drainage all the waters from the rain, and also working on the vegetation replacement in the existing parks. As I explained it before, we need to have more vegetation adapted to climate change, and of course using remote watering management systems. Well, more or less, I don't know if I was talking too fast or not, but I just want to show you some examples of things that we are implementing with our Cornellà Natura strategic program, and to show that I think little by little, but we are increasing our MBA solutions in our city. Of course, as always, there are some weaknesses. It's not always easy. There are a lot of departments working in a municipality, and you always have to explain very well what you want to do and why. And still we need more knowledge and to execute the projects, and working more with the urban planning department. One thing that it was always, we have every time that we project work, always the same issue come up. It is the maintenance cost. We think it is really important that we integrate this cost in our projects, because of course greening always greening more, of course more maintenance need to do. So we need to incorporate this cost. And also we have to work with the citizens, because there is a change of perspectives. Also, the main example, I think it is always with the pruning. If we do less pruning, people, maybe we will have some complaints or so. We have to work also from an environmental perspectives and with an educational, with the schools, but also with the adults, to explain the changes. Why are we changing whatever? Because then it's easier to understand. And you talked it before, Ben, we need good indicators. I think we can share them, because for us it is really important to have them. And we have the feeling that we are not so good at them. No, it's always quite difficult to have them. We are now working to have a good indicator systems, because I think, well, we think it is, of course, elemental and basic to develop any program. And what about these trends of the MVs in Cornellà? We have talked during the meeting, so I'm not extending on it, but they are good for the environment, but also for health and for other species. They increase the biodiversity, we adapt to climate change, and of course, they create more pleasant spaces for coexistence. This last point, it is very important for us. We always said that the Cornellà Natura project try to greening the city for having a better quality of life. So this is really important to us. So thank you very much. And if you have any question.
Thank you, Virginia. In the chat, there is no question. Someone wants to ask something or just make any comment about Virginia's presentation? So, well, we will have time at the end of the meeting if we want to share within the cities. So now it's the turn for our green leaf cities, who are going to explain us an MBA's best practice. And I'm going to introduce you in the order that we had in the agenda, in the meeting agenda. So prepare your presentation if you haven't done it yet. And we will start with Grabovo from Bulgaria. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name or your city name properly, because there are some language that I don't. So Grabovo from Bulgaria.
Grabovo from Bulgaria, yes. And my name is Sevdalina.
And welcome to our network. Green Leaf Network, because Grabovo was one of the winners of the Green Leaf Award last year. Well, this year, that it will be next year. So, Dalina, it's your turn.
Yes. Let me just okay. Do you see the presentation now?
No.
No?
No. Now you have start sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. You can put it in if you want in full screen, but we can see it perfectly like this as you want.
Okay, it's not my computer actually, so I'll try to not here. I think that not to waste more time. This is one single initiative that I'll present, and from theory to practice maybe will be an interesting change. So this project is called Take Me in Your Village, and it addresses a variety of issues that have social, ecological, environmental, cultural, and a lot of other aspects. Its aim is to explore, preserve, and further develop the life cultural heritage and natural environment of Gabrovo villages. And this is done by transferring and transmitting knowledge, skills, practices, from the elderly to the young in the authentic rural environment of the villages by doing and experiencing. The participants. The participants were two main groups: the elderly villagers, 65 and more years old, and the urban youth between up to 29. Owing to the project, these two target groups shared unforgettable experience being grandparents for rent and grandchildren to lend. These groups were chosen because of their characteristics. The young people currently live in entirely urban settings where their relation with nature and environment is practically lost, which entails diverse negative consequences, as it was mentioned in one of the presentations before. On the other hand, the elderly people who live in the villages are holders of invaluable, long-lasting traditions, skills, knowledge, which are endangered nowadays of being lost and forgotten by the young generations. So the scope of the project, it started with 2 villages, 10 participants, and through the years, 400 children and young people, and at about 100 elderly people got involved. Many people from other cities and countries were interested, and the project expanded through the years. Unfortunately, in this year, we were unable to realize it. What the activities exactly were. The young people learned from elderly people about the daily life activities, the production of ecological and bio-produce, for example, like livestock breeding, fruit and vegetable production, how dairy products are made, viniculture, horticulture, beekeeping, the ways to cultivate crops and plants, to care for animals, to process products, for example, how to prepare homemade butter, yogurt, cheese, how to make preserves of the homemade produce. The culinary heritage is explored, the knowledge of home cooking, the traditional tastes, foods, meals. Traditional crafts are experienced also, knitting, weaving, making different articles out of natural materials. The natural environment, the mountain and its inhabitants, how to survive in the open, how to make a shelter, how to offer first aid, to explore the relief of the region, rivulets, lakes, mountain ridges, the resources of nature and how they should be used, the wild herbs, plants, trees, game, how to install bird feeders, for example, how to pick up plants and mushrooms so that they could grow next year again. Different aspects of these resources and different applications, how the herbs can be used as cures and ointments instead of traditional medicine. What is the innovative of this project? The innovativeness lies in this, that the young people live in the homes of these elderly people for 1 week usually. They actively participate in their lives, and this is done in the authentic environment of the real villages. Both target groups, elderly and the young, are participants, and the knowledge that is acquired in practice by doing, experiencing, making, and sharing. And so both target groups are impacted. The young learn the basics of the rural life and the environmental traditions, and the elderly got acquainted with the new technological achievements. This is on the basic, but at a higher level, the dispositions are changed, the appreciation of nature is achieved, and young people search for natural lifestyle, build desire to contact with nature, concern with nature, how to aim to protect nature and its resources. At social level, new relations are established. The generation gap is overcome and the two age groups communicate and work together. young people build team building. They learn to rely on the others, to support each other. And the other relation, very important, is between young people and nature. And the young people can easily become ambassadors to this newly acquired knowledge and share it using their usual communication means, thus reaching unlimited number of people. So a short, very short movie, it's only 2 minutes and hope it will start. You can see what the project actually is. Thank you. That was my good practice. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting and also very environmental and social work that it's really how it has to be. Now it would be the turn from Galway, but they apologize because they cannot join us. I hope everything is okay. And we will give the floor to Peter Rotten from Horse and the Mars from the Netherlands, who will explain a project that they have been carried out called Climate Square, that is in front of an old cultural center. So Virginia will help with the presentation. And yeah. Peter, you can turn your mic on.
Okay, thank you, Louisa. Would you please start the PowerPoint?
Yeah, Virginia is helping with that because I cannot share a screen, so she's going to do that. 1 minute, please. Virginia, we can see your screen, but not the presentation. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Virginia? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just trying it, but there is a dejar compartición. Because I have a problem with that, I don't know why.
I can try to share my screen with you, but I've never worked with Zoom before.
Yes.
Are you trying then?
No, I'm not trying.
Ah, okay, yeah, I'll try it again then.
If you don't succeed, I'll give it a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, yeah. It's okay.
Here we are.
Well,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
in time. Thank you, Virginia, and it's your turn, Peter. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is a view of our climate monitor. And the first step we did in the process of climate adaptation is we trying to know what level we are. And with this climate monitor, we made the effects possible for water, drought, heat stress. And we did this for the year 2018, and the effects that are expected for 2050. So we had this climate monitor, this climate atlas made, and that has maps for the themes as mentioned, but also for themes as land use, water quality, groundwater levels, and so on. This is a digital atlas, and if you click on one of the themes, you will see several maps and related to the themes. Next sheet, please. Yes, this is a section of our town where you can see what buildings are at risk at a certain rain cloud. And this rain cloud is 60 mil in 60 minutes. And you see that several buildings are in orange or red, and these are at risk to be flooded. You also can see that some of the roads are no longer drivable. These are marked in red or in yellow. And with this information, you can take action. So next slide, please. Here you see what areas are sensitive for heat stress. And usually that are the areas in the city centers where there are a lot of buildings, roads, and pavements. With this information, with the information of the climate atlas, we know how to act and where to take measures. So when a cultural community center and adjacent square were renovated in our town, we took the opportunity to make this area climate proof. And I have a short movie in which my alderman presents what we have accomplished in this area. There are English subtitles, so you should be able to follow this movie. So Louisa, if you can start this movie, it will only take 3 minutes.
Virginia, the movie, please. Virginia, we don't see anything.
Yeah.
We hear something, but we don't see anything.
Okay. Okay. Are you here? Are you watching it now?
No, we don't see anything.
No.
Yeah, we see the screen, but not the movie.
Yeah, we see the screen, but not the movie.
I don't know what's happening on. Está compartiendo la pantalla.
Well, we see like
No,
a screen, but not
so,
the movie.
But
I don't
it
know.
is strange because it is strange because it says to me that I'm sharing the screen in this case.
And you can see the movie?
Yes. And it's telling me that I'm sharing it. I try again, or maybe if you don't mind to try it, you. Well, I try it again. Okay, just.
Well,
sorry about that. It's technical stuff that sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, I try one more time. Can you see? Can you watch it now? Because
no, it's like a black.
It says that I'm sharing the screen, so maybe I don't know if it is a problem with the.
I can give it a try at my laptop.
Okay.
Try then.
Yeah. You have just to click on share screen, and it will probably work. Thank you.
Hi, there's a message from Frances Barrow, and it just says that when you share a screen, you have to select the video application. So maybe if Virginia can just check if she has that as well.
And I have problems with my connection right now. I cannot see either you now.
Oh my God.
Okay. So.
Sorry about that.
Okay. When you share screen, you have to select the video application. Says Francis, when you share screen, you have to. Yeah, but I tried. If you want, I try it again, but because I select the video and it says to me that I'm sharing it with you, as it happened with the other presentations. But I'm trying it again. Okay, let's try the last, and if not, I think you can send it to us. Okay, just.
We can send, if it's not working, we can send. You can send the link to the participants. Because it's a really interesting movie.
Yeah, I know. If not, we can try also later. We can. You want to try, Peter, or?
I'll give it a go.
Sorry to the rest of the cities. Normally, you share your screen.
Oh no.
Or we can go pass to the next city and then try if we can manage to show the video. Is that okay for you, Peter?
Yes, it's fine. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about that. So, Ika Rasanen, if you want to share your screen.
Yes.
Maria, you are sharing your screen.
Hello, everybody. So, shall I try it from here, or I have sent it the presentation?
No, you have to share your screen. It's okay. You share your screen.
Right. I had some problems with sharing, but
don't worry.
Let's try this. So where was the sharing button? Over here, and so how do you see anything?
Yeah, we see the presentation and we hear you, so you can start.
Great.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to switch to the presentation mode. Still, but I have two displays, so it doesn't show well, so I have to take it back. Okay. So the nature-based solution that from Lappeenranta city. Lappeenranta is 76,000 inhabitants city in the southeastern Finland, and we are located at the sand ridge, which is formed in the Ice Age, and from the city to the north starts the fourth biggest lake in Europe. So Lake Saimaa is called Lake Saimaa, and because I have just 5 minutes time today, so I will just present one solution which we have used, and it's the solution to use nature-based solution to preserve the lake from the nutrient flows. So the problem is that from the city surface, the rainwater brings nutrients to the lake, and the lake is naturally very vulnerable. So the small amounts of nutrients will cause algae blooming, which is shown in the picture in the top. And the solution is that we build stormwater pond systems to the city area, and we have also used the same technique in the rural area where we have a lot of more space, so we can build there 100 of those. But in the city area, there's a little space, so has been built 7 so far. And there's one picture of the city. Below lower picture, there's a picture of how does the water sampling is doing in the city-based stormwater pond system. And the next picture, you can see the aerial photograph of this area where there are algae problems and city and the ponds. And you can see in the right hand side, if on the picture here, there is a pool system in the aerial photography, which is in the sandy area, and there is our water supply for the city. And its water supply is partly artificial groundwater and partly it is real groundwater. And there are some pictures of what would those stormwater ponds look like. There are several pond systems which are connected by pipelines, and these ponds, in these ponds there is going natural processes where the cleaning is happening, and citizens are very fond of this because they are pretty in the summer times. They are recreational value. They have recreational value, and they bring more biodiversity. It means insects, birds, and so on. So, but we have also other systems. Green City Plan Horizonte is where we plan the whole city in the green mode, and we have managed to build a meadow network. So the cutting of the grass is limited, and park development, greening the traffic circles. There's a new cherry park where the people can buy their own cherry trees, and they are being planted here. The cherry is quite because we are in the north. The cherry is a new plant. The climate is changing, so the cherries will be in the future. They will grow faster. And then we have a greenery park for the citizens, where citizens can bring their own trees. But we have just few green roofs. So that's what we have been doing here at Lappeenranta in the nature-based solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ika. There is any questions or any suggestions? for Ika from La Peranta? If not, we can go to the next city. We will try the video at the end of the presentation, just in case it doesn't work, we don't lose much time, but we will try at the end. So it's the term from Gert van Horebeek, more or less, from Leuven, Belgium, who is going to explain some climate adaptations projects that they have planned for the next years.
Hello, everyone is seeing my screen?
Yeah, we are seeing your screen and hearing and seeing you as well. Thank you.
Okay. So welcome. I'm going to keep it rather brief. I'm not going to tell about our climate adaptation policy or our policy on nature-based solutions, but I'm just going to give a view on a project we will launch this year and next year. Like all the cities, climate change has an impact, and like in other cities, it's heavy storms in summer, continuous rainfall in winter, long drought periods. In this year, we had a very long continuous rainfall in March, and 2 months later, we had a very, very, very severe drought period. So we have it all. Climate change has an impact on the vegetation, the rising importance of green, of course, and also that heat island in the city. So we know that our policy has to adapt the city for the livability of the city with a lot of new rules and regulations, a lot of projects, and that's what I'm going to focus on. Also cooperations with all stakeholders and all citizens. Our policy, we try to approach it on a coordinated way with assembling measures from water management, greening, heat control. So not focus on one aspect, but we try always to link different aspects and also link to other themes like mobility, spatial planning, biodiversity. And also we try to base our policy on a risk assessment, on some studies, on and some analysis of the spatial planning, of course. So this is our large overview where we try to consider Leuven as a sponge city on a larger scale, smaller scale, and then we develop some priority projects which we can elaborate. Our actual policy is we develop a new vision for the public domain where that resilient city is very much a starting point in the design of the public domain. We did some good examples. And like I said, we try to base it on data and studies, and we cooperate in the city with a lot of city departments together, where, as it used to be, it was more development of streets and footpaths. It was one department. Now we try to collaborate very much. But I'm going to focus on a new project because climate adaptation is not one task of the local authority alone. It's a task of everyone, a lot of stakeholders. So we will do a project where we have selected a lot of different types of measures in different groups, like small green roofs on shelters for where you can wait for the bus, or projects of planting of trees, recuperation of reuse of rainwater, putting some pavement out and replacing it by green. So 6 groups of measurements in water, greening, and infiltration. And we will realize maybe 20 or 30 small projects, good practices, where we put a green roof on a bus shelter or a cycling parking place, etc. Putting some green facades, green roofs, you name it. Tiny forest, some trees for shadowing, etc. So, and with that, 30 or 40 good examples, we will launch we will launch a large communication strategy in order to raise awareness, raise acceptance, and also involve citizens and hope that they, we will focus on what can they do on their own domain, in their own garden, in their own house. They can put green roof, they can put gardens, they can remove some pavements. So a large communication campaign where we will also support citizens in collaborating with us and on that climate adaptation, so that citizens and organizations and companies and businesses, so that we will try to put some ownership for that climate adaptation also in all local stakeholders. So that's what we will try to elaborate right now and next year. So, like I said, I keep it rather short.
Thank you very much, Gert. It was just on time, and we really like the way you talk. You work with your network. We are always like seeing at the or looking at your strategy with network and how you are integrating citizen in all you do, and it's really interesting. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the meeting? From the floor? If not, we will pass to Limerick from Ireland, who will, I think, Anne Goggins is going to explain their MBA's experience in Limerick. Good morning.
Good morning. Will I share my screen now? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
I
don't see your screen.
Okay.
So it's your green leaf year, and a strange year for your green leaf year.
Yes, it has been a very strange year for our green leaf year. Just check this is the correct version. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it and we hear you. So whenever you want, you can start your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk very briefly as well about some work we've done on noise. And this does incorporate a little bit of nature-based solutions in one aspect of noise management. So we have a noise action plan as required by EU legislation, and it deals with three aspects of noise. It looks at prevention, so having policies in place that prevent new problems emerging, so prevents new people being exposed to excessive noise. So that means controlling how and where development takes place so that you don't either bring people to noise by building new houses too close to a noise source, or bring noise to people by putting roads and other transportation facilities close to people without having adequate mitigation. There's also an element of trying to reduce noise where it's already excessive by looking at what measures you can introduce. So looking at things like low noise road surfaces, vegetation screens, noise barriers. But the final element of the noise action plan, and the one I want to talk about today, is protecting. So looking at areas that provide a refuge for urban dwellers from noise and making sure those are protected. So I suppose to put it in context, and this was mentioned earlier, next to air pollution, environmental noise is the second greatest cause of disease and ill health from environmental factors in Europe. And it's really important that people who live in noisy areas have access to quiet spaces that provide an element of restoration from the hectic urban environment. And having these quiet spaces in green spaces adds an extra benefit because people have the advantage of contact with nature, which, as we saw from one of the earlier presentations, helps with a whole range of health issues. So there's different ways we can try to identify quiet spaces and protect them. One of them is just monitoring noise levels, and this picture here shows the People's Park in the centre of Limerick, and you can see in the centre that there's a pole with a solar panel and a noise monitor on it. So we're monitoring noise levels in the People's Park to see if it constitutes a quiet area. But this is a flawed approach because silence and quietness isn't necessarily the same as having a tranquil area, because there are certain sounds that can be loud but that have a restorative value. So the sound of birdsong, the sound of flowing water, the sound of wind in the trees, these can all be quite loud and can even exceed the limits for a quiet area, but they're sounds that we enjoy and that do us good. So we need a different approach to trying to identify our quiet areas, something other than just collecting quantitative data on noise. So that brings us to the approach that we're using in Limerick. This is called the Hush City app. It was developed by Dr. Antonella Radici in Berlin Technical University, and we've been working very closely with Antonella on this project. The idea is that you would get people to record the sounds in areas that they enjoy. So they would describe the sound, record the sound, and take a photograph and describe how they feel in the area. And that gives much better information on the types of areas that people enjoy going to and find respite from city life in and get some restorative value. So we rolled this out at the start of the year to coincide with our year as European Green Leaf City, and we've had quite a lot of interest and input into the app and quite a lot of areas recorded. And I'm just going to finish with a really short video clip that shows you how to use the app. So hopefully this will work. Presentation, and the app can be used anywhere, so any city can encourage its residents to download and use the app and record the quiet areas. And there's also a map, so you can access information on the quiet areas. So it's very useful for both citizens to see where there are nice quiet spaces in any cities they're visiting or that they live in. And it's also useful for policymakers to identify the areas that people value and to enhance and protect those areas. So that's it. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hi. Luisa, are you there?
Hello?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to put on my micro. I was saying that it was very interesting, and probably most of the cities we are here today, we are going to ask you about the app and how we can use it in our own cities. And now it's time for Mechelen from Belgium. who is also one of the Green Leaf Year of this year. And so it's your turn. Arno, you have to turn on your micro.
Yeah, that will help. Thanks. Just quickly checking if I can show the presentation. In the meantime, I would like to start with first saying thank you for all the presentations that were very inspiring. But I also like to add on the point of La Pereña. I really liked your picture on the kid on the beach of your little lake, of the rather large lake. I think that's what it's all about, also nature-based solutions. It's about building solutions that can make our city more livable, more enjoyable, because we often frame it from an environmental perspective, but I think we need to bring it to people from not so much an environmental, but a livability and enjoyable perspective. So I was sharing my screen so you all saw how messy my my desktop is. But now I think you can see my presentation, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we are just seeing you.
And maybe now you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We can hear you and see you, so you can start. Thank you.
Perfect. So in Mechelen, we also developed our climate action plan in line with the covenant. I think there's two elements that we would like to discuss for this project. We selected one project to discuss, and it helps on two elements or pillars of our climate action plan. It's on the dry feet. That's everything that's flooding, and we want to keep the people's feet dry, and the strong nature element. We selected the Sigma plan, which is actually a Flanders project. So it's not even a Mechelen project, but it's installed by the regional government. It started in 1976 because there was a large flooding. And the idea was, can't we connect flooding and nature development at once? So for Mechelen, it means we're in the riverland. As I was trying to translate it this morning, I discovered it was quite hobbity, like the Hobbit books or the Harry Potter books, but we call ourselves Riverland because there's many rivers running through our territory. So you can see here that we're part of the Sigma plan, and if you zoom in, you can see that where three rivers join. Mechelen is very close to that area. So there's tidal rivers. I put the rivers because there's two rivers that actually have tides. So that means that we see the water going up and down in our city, although we're rather far away from the North Sea. So we have one project within the Sigma plan, which is a controlled flooding area. So there's two systems. I stole some images from the videos that the Flemish government put on their website. The idea of the one system is when the river, when there's a storm tide, when the water is coming in, it actually flows into a controlled flooding area. And that is a nature-based solution in that sense, that it actually is a very interesting natural area in the same time. And that's even more visible in the second one, which is here, the controlled area that is actually flooded twice a day. And so the water runs in via I don't know if you can see my cursor, but via the top end of the dike, and it goes out via the bottom. In the meantime, there's a good area for developing unique nature, which is wetlands and natural flooding of sweetwater wetlands. So I know the images are often a bit theoretical. So I put in a few pictures of what it actually means from a nature development point of view. But maybe just want to add on this one. So there's two dikes. That's rather important. There's one that overflows and fills the area with water. And there's a second one that actually protects the area behind it. So it's even more visible on this slide. So you would have the overflow dike, which is the yellow one, or in this case, the one where the water runs in every day and goes out. And there's the green one that actually protects from the hinterland from overflowing. So this is the type of nature that you get there. You get very rich nature, very unique nature. It gives, as was put by one of the other presenters, that gives a good basis for an ecosystem or your own food chain. It goes up from the larvae, which are in the mud, up to the birds that eat the water life. So you get very, very nice nature. Before it was just less enjoyable nature, less wet nature. So it gives space for water, it gives space for water for overflowing, restore the natural way the river works, so it actually can overflow. It gives space for nature, but also for recreation. And one of the main elements, one of the important elements we discovered in our climate risk analysis is that there's going to be an increase for demand for green and blue recreation. So these type of areas is the place where people go. And we see it very clear throughout this pandemic, but also we see it when there's a heat wave. These are the type of place where people go to enjoy, to relax, to escape the urban environment. There's another project which is not on our territory, but just adjacent, where there's even room for agriculture, because the overflowing of the river happens only every 10 years. So it's available for the river to take if it needs it. But in the meantime, there's agriculture. What we still see as a very large challenge, and I think many of us will have the same problem, is that the plan as it was currently developed is for a 40-centimeter rise in water level in the seas. So I think if you look at the more recent scenarios, the water level, the sea level rise will be higher. So that's definitely a challenge. Will it be enough to protect our city from the incoming water if we have a storm tide? And the second one is we are actually the place where the tide stops on our river. We have the block, let's say, and so that we also have natural reserves who are behind, we're less in the tidal river area. So we're also looking at how we can make these areas more with nature-based solutions, how we can make them more rich, because at this point we see that these natural areas are completely drying out and that the biodiversity is becoming very poor in these areas. And so we just entered a new live project, Water Resilient Cities, on wetlands, together with the Netherlands, to develop new methods of having these natural areas, preventing drought in these natural areas, to prevent massive biodiversity loss there. We're collaborating with the local nature NGO. Just wanted to add again that it's not a project of our own city, and that we collaborate very intensively, and we're very happy that it's on a territory, but it's not something that comes out of our budgets per se. But I think it's the biggest nature-based solution that we have, if not in Mechelen, I think even in Flanders. People from across the world come to look at the solutions. It's a bit, in the Netherlands, they have the very impressive Delta works and the Delta plan after the flooding. This is our Sigma plan, so with the S of the River Scheldt. It's our little way of trying to live together with the river in a nature-friendly way. So I think that gave an overview. As the presentations will be shared, I put in the link of the video that explains it. It's in Dutch, but it's with these very handy graphs. So even if you don't speak Dutch, it becomes very clear. And then the water actually moves on the video, so you'll see it very much clearer. I think that's one of the projects where we can be very proud in Flanders that we have it, and we need more of these type of projects where nature and people protection go together.
Thank you, Arno, for your being accurate in time, and also for explaining such an interesting project from also not just your municipality, but also a supra-municipality point of view that is also very interesting. And now it's the turn from Mollet del Vallès, our neighbors here in Catalonia. So,
hi.
Yeah, how are you?
Hi, good morning. Yes. So let's see if I can share my screen. Yes. I hope, yes. Let's, so one moment, please. Yes.
Share screen?
Yes, just one moment. I say try again. I think it's because I think try again. Yes, I think yes now. Yes, I think yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's okay now. Yes.
You are sharing your screen, but not the screen you want to share.
But I think yes now. Yes, I am.
Yeah, you should go to your presentation.
Yes, then everything is okay. Everything is
now it's okay.
Yeah, you can see the presentation, isn't it?
Hear you, so you can start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Maria. I come from the municipality of the city council of Mollet del Vallès. So let's start. I would like to introduce some aspects of the city. First of all, for who don't know the city. So the town is formed by an urban structure and a rural protected area named Gallecs. This is Gallecs and this is the city. And we are a small, complex and compact city with 52,000 inhabitants and a municipality of area of 10.8 square kilometers. Another aspect is that we are very close from Barcelona, with 20 kilometers from Barcelona, and another is a very huge running transport infrastructure. So this is a brief aspects of Maya del Vallès. So what's begin about our practice of nature-based solutions. So first of all, the city has a space of opportunities, biodiversity and new green areas. So what is the environmental processes and successions as elements in the management of urban spaces? So what we are going to do is just to reproduce the strategy used by these plants, used by the nature. Yes, just we want to reproduce what the nature is doing. So and for these things we have to put favorable conditions to go there. So from first of all, what happens? We have to observe and analyze what is the nature, what the nature gives us. Yes. After that, environmental rotation process. Everything is okay? Are you listening to me?
Yeah, we listen and we see.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Just after that, just to try to understand and to learn, and after that, and to think and design what we want to reproduce, what and after that, just to build and plant, and just after to enjoy and health at the healthy city. So this is just to reproduce what is going on, what it happens in the nature, and just to introduce in the city. And for the reason, it's an opportunity to us. Yes. So of course, another important aspect is that this is a blisters of ladybugs, as you can see. Yeah, and this is another important aspect in this boulevard, Pompeu Fabra Boulevard, that it's an example of biological integrated fighting, the implementation of biological control of pests in urban areas. And we have created favorable conditions for the enemies of the pest to be established. And for example, this kinds of ladybugs with the aphids, yes. And of course, this is important to increase the urban university. So next one, this is the Penitence Park. It's a peri-urban park. As you can see here, this is the city, and this is the urban area of Gallecs. So the Penitence just is a transition. It's a landscape of transition, a peri-urban area. And this is very important for us. Why this is very important for us? Because in this landscape, we are using agriculture as a solution for a city nature transition. This is, as I have told you, it's a transition landscape, a mosaic landscape of plantations, crops, and forests that favors, of course, biodiversity. And of course, it's a getaway to the Gallecs rural area. And I have to say that this is an area that's very frequently by citizens just to walk, just to have fun, just to doing different kind of sports. So another in this case, and a relation with that, in this Penitence Park, just this one. Sorry, we are sorry. We have, yes, this is a citizen participation. Yes, every year, this is a festival of the tree with a lot of people. Yeah, participation. For example, we have this event, and it's a very, with a lot of people. So another aspect is promote the biodiversity. Yes, and the last one is just we are in that moment we are restoring, we are the renaturation of ponds, and we are making a management of invasive species. So next one. Sorry, I am going a little bit fast, but I hope everything is okay. Tree management. It based to 3 aspects, so 3 points. Yeah, this is the selection of species. Species with a fast growth, pruning and maintenance to give the right shape to adapt well to the space that we have, and to grow well and give shadow. And the last is location. We have to choose well the location. If we plant a tree at 2 meters of the facade, every year we should be pruning, and the effect of the shade we are looking for will not achieve. So let's this one is the location and asymmetry. We can create asymmetrical zones with wider seed wells on one side than in the other one, as you can see here, with different separation between trees and different types of trees to create more shaded spaces. This is more shade on the single tree in the middle of the street with a bigger top than two trees with a smaller top. Oh, yes. So you can see here, this is the idea. And the last one of here is just the location. In the, for example, if the side walls are not enough layered, instead of placing the tree in the middle of the street, for example, here on the side walls, place it in the street. Yes, just we earn space. Yes, gaining space from the cars. Yes, this is another aspect. So next one, it's just large urban meadows for the citizens. This is a prevention of wet waves. This is a part de las praderas, and just to mitigate, the goal is to mitigate the decrease of temperatures, and especially in the evenings. And this is another, it's mitigation of the decrease of the temperatures. Okay, just so this is the green roofs. We have a roof of the new police station building. We have this is a green roof and just to thermal insulation. And at the end, this is the last. I would just want to explain. It's a test that we are. It's a sustainable urban drainage systems, and the most important is to do not throw water. To do not throw water into the seawall systems, to manage of floods, and to increase the water table. And another aspect, of course, is to permeabilize the soil. So thank you. This is the last. Thank you very much. And I know that it's very quickly, it's very short, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask to me. And I think everything is okay.
Okay, thank you, Maria. We don't have much time. I'm sorry, we are. So we will just put the questions at the end or comments if someone wants to ask something. I'm very sorry we are in a delay, but the program was quite dense and it could happen. Now it's the turn for Nyborg from Denmark. Karen, it's your turn. Are you there? Karen?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll try to share my screen.
Maria, you should stop sharing screen. No, it's yours. It's yours, Karen, isn't it? Is your screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Sorry.
This one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will be very brief.
Thank you.
In Nyborg, we are located here close to the sea, but we also have a large upland with a lot of villages, and we have a natural project, nature-based solution in a marshland outside the city, and it is covering 28 hectares of land. And in here we have made efforts to do a wetland to collect all the water from rain and prevent flooding of towns, and to delay the CO2 from the farmland to go into the natural lakes and river streams in the area. And this project was developed in 2012, and now we have added some other aspects to the project, so that now a large part of the area is with fence, so that we can have cattle within the fences, and this is done in order to protect the biodiversity and to increase the biodiversity in the area. So here is an overview of the area. So this is all I'm going to say because I can see we are very short in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We will also share all the presentations and information through CIRCAP, so we can also talk between us if we want more information. And now it's the turn for Torres Vedras from Portugal, Sandra Pedro. And Karen, you should stop sharing screen.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't do it.
You have to have like a message that it's like stop sharing. It's like a little message in the screen. Okay, now.
I did it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Sandra, your turn.
Yeah. I don't know if you are seeing my presentation.
Yeah, we see your presentation and hear you, so go on.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to congratulate the new members, the new European Green Leaf Network members, and give them a warm welcome. And now I'm going to go for my presentation. So in this presentation, I will show some examples of the two projects. One is implemented and the other one is going to be next year. And the main objective of them is to link the two big parks that we have. So this is. So adaptation to climate change and NBS solutions, environmental and ecological function, improvement of air quality, noise control, improvement of urban hydrology with reduce of runoff flow erosion, control, increased water infiltration, high temperature softness, heat wave mitigations, bioclimatic comfort, biodiversity, native flora and fauna, and improvement of experience and quality of life. This is the topics that we highlight when we plan our green areas and our nature-based solutions. So for those who already have been in Torres, you know our main green city areas. One is Parque Verde da Várzea and the other is the Park of Chopal. In this picture, in this map, they are in green. Then we have these two spaces that I'm going to talk about in this presentation. One is the green space of Vale of Amiais, and the other is an ecological corridor that link these two big parks. And in this map, you can also see the river, and you also can see that these two green corridors cross the river. So, as I told in the previous slide, we have Várzea Green Park, Chopal Park, green space of Vale dos Amiais. Vale dos Amiais is like a ditch, and this is one of the projects that I'm going to present, and the other is Cisandro and Alpilhão Ecological Corridor, which is this one. And Vale dos Amiais is this one. So we also have this ecological corridor, which is a pedestrian and cycling route, and also this one, which also is a pedestrian cycling route along the river. So this project of green corridors have the main objective to develop a study on the requalification and valorization of river systems. This is one of the biggest river in our territory, the Cisandro, that crosses the city. And also to promote the valorization and the improvement of the ecological conditions of the biodiversity. So for these projects that I want to present, it's Vale dos Amiais. The main objectives that we put in them, it's the landscape rehabilitation, the improvement of the landscape and the pedestrian paths that cross all over the railway, a construction of a pedestrian circuit in order to practice exercise, walking, running, cycling, and the connection of the surroundings to a new museum, a carnival museum that we are going to inaugurate next year. We also want to create a shaded living area for socializing and playing and leisure, and create also sports equipment for people of different age and groups. So this is the main picture of the intervention. And some of the materials that we used are permeable pavements, natural and recycled materials like wood, metal, and recycled plastic. We covered the soil with native plant species, meadow and a small lawn. And we naturalized the water line with species that are characteristics of the riparian gallery. You can see here some pictures of the materials. More. And 3 species adapted to riparian galleries and indigenous species were used. Poplars, ash, alders, and willows. We have coverings with meadow and planting of typical wetland shrubs. And we have an informal recreation and leisure area and an arboreal alignment along the road that has the objective to increase acoustic, bioclimatic, and have a scenic comfort. These are some pictures of the area. Then the other project that we are going to begin to implement next year, the project is already done and we have guarantee of funding from the national government. And the objectives are to create a continuous natural through the implementation of a green corridor in the city, using a system of linking parks. We have these 2 big parks and we want to link them all across the river. We want to create some, we will recover the margins and the water lines, and we will create places for refuge of a species, a fish species, which is a native fish called Rivaco do Oeste. We will increase the resilience of the riverside ecosystem in the context of climate change, of course, and we will increase the number of trees in the city in order to contribute to a greater urban biodiversity and the climate amenity and CO2 retentions. We will also implement a network of smooth pedestrian and cycling paths all over this green corridor. And this is some pictures or some what we are expected to have there. More, and that's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. And now it's the turn for Baksho, who is our last city, but not less important. So Henry is
now I'll see.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good afternoon.
Well, it's not really afternoon yet, but let's see if do I share my screen now? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. But I think you're okay. On the screen, so it's your turn.
Okay. So I'm want to talk a little bit about a project about nature-based solutions that we are carrying out in Växjö, or actually it's more about policy making. It's part of it's financed by Interreg Europe. But first I would like to start here. We have been working with different kinds of nature-based solutions for a long time in Växjö. This is an area that used to be a military training site. To the north of this area, we have the biggest industrial area in Växjö, lots of hard sealed surface, as you understand. And to the south of this picture, we have one of our bigger lakes, which has been suffering from pollutions during a long time, and we are finally making it really clean. This wetland, as you see here with the meanders, is something that has contributed to reduce the negative impact on the lake, because the hard sealed surface from the industrial area, whenever it's raining, it means that it comes lots of nutrients, but also there's a risk of pollutants from heavy metals and rubber and other kind of things. But this is picked up here, collected in the wetland by the plants, and it's also sedimenting in the stream. And then we can clean this area instead of the whole lake next time. So it's a very successful solution that we can use nature for, and it's of course also good for biodiversity. You also can see something with this little mark. It says bee paradise. That used to be some kind of a shooting range or something, I think, from the military area. And now we have created lots of smaller eco or biospheres for different kinds of bees. And I think we have 80 species of bees living there right now. And that of course is a good way of strengthening biodiversity and securing pollination. However, we do a lot of things, but it's sometimes it's a bit of ad hoc. You find problems and you have a solution for that. So with this project, the Blue Green City, we want to make sure that the whole concepts of ecosystem services and green nature-based solutions are dealt with in all aspects of the planning and building process. That it should be integrated and it should always be thought of. We have a lot of things that are helping with this. We have green structure plans. We have a good comprehensive master plan. We have a sustainability program, and there are political decisions on us working on ecosystem services, but it's not perfectly defined in what way we should do that, and there's a bit of lack of knowledge of that, and maybe sometimes conflicts of goals, and different parts of the organization don't really know what everyone is doing. So, and I will not read the whole slide here, but I will just show here that each of these boxes on top of the slide illustrates different parts of the planning and building process. And we are now working together with the ecologists and city planners to see for each of those steps, how can we make sure that we integrate ecosystem services and nature-based solutions in all of those steps to ensure that we will have a much more secure and professional way of dealing with these issues from now on and forever. Okay, I think that was everything for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Henrik, and thank you for being accurate in time. I don't know if there is any question or comment about all the city's presentation or something you want to. You can turn on your camera if you like.
Maybe, sorry, Luisa. Maybe we can try to share the video before the questions.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
One more time, but we try it, okay?
Okay, sorry.
Don't worry. I don't know you. No, I don't reproducir. Just one moment. I don't think it's working because. Oh, is it working?
It's working.
Okay.
It's slow, but it's working.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the sound of the video was not very good, but we will pass the video and all the presentations. So we hope you could watch it properly. So we are at the end of the meeting. We are not much people left, but it was a bit of a delay. I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much for all the assistants and for the cities who have participated. We hope we can meet properly soon in person, that it's more exchangeable and richer, and we will share all the also the video and the information with you through CIRCAP. So now Virginia is going to say some words, and thank you very much and see you soon.
Okay, thank you, Luisa, for everything and for hosting the meeting, and thank you for all of you. At the end, we were not very used to these online meetings, and maybe the timing, it was not the best that we can do it, but of course we are learning, and it was our first online meeting, and of course I hope we can, maybe we will have more meetings of these types, hopefully not so many, because I think it's very grateful to meet each other and also to know in person the cities and the area. But as I said at the beginning, we didn't have another option, and it was a pleasure to stay with you, with the cities, with the European Commission, with the experts. So thanks again, and see you very soon, virtually or in person, okay? So bye-bye. And as Lisa said, we will have all the information to share with you.
Thank you, Virginia, for everything, and Lisa.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.